Betwabu, beautiful people. Betwabu, Betwabu. Betwabu, Betwabu, yeah. Alicia, yeah. Betwabu, Betwabu. Y'all, I called my mom about something yesterday. At least I meant to call you to tell you. It was something. I was listening to Exodus yesterday, y'all. Before I get started, let me just tell y'all this. I was listening to Exodus, and it got to the part after they were come out of Egypt, Betwabu, Nikki, Betwabu, after they had got out of Egypt and they was already down at the foot of Mount Sinai, and Yahuwah had told Moses, he said, look, go tell the people, I'm going to come down and meet with them. He said, but for now, keep everybody from coming up the mountain. He said, keep the animals from coming, because if they come up the mountain, they're going to have to die. You're going to have to shoot them. So just tell everybody to stay away. Tell the men, tell the women, prepare themselves to meet me. Tell the men not to have sex with their wives. Everybody need to be clean for this day, right? So it was that part right there. I want to say it was Exodus 19 or 20. But I was sitting there working, right? I was doing some invoicing, and I was just listening to it, letting it play like I always do. And so he started listing the commandments, and he started talking about the Sabbath. Trina, Betwabu, Betwabu. Oh, I'm going to mention about the Sabbath today, Trina. So, matter of fact, I'm talking about it now, but not what you had asked. Okay, so he said, on the Sabbath, here is what's so genius about the way Yahuwah explains things, right? If we're paying attention, he gave very specific detail on what to do and what not to do on a lot of things, right? So if you understand and you're very familiar with the Torah, remember how you hear me say, like if you're familiar with the Torah, you're able, as you read through the scriptures, especially once you get to the New Testament, you're able to pick out the leaven. It's like, it just like shines at you like, it's so noticeable. You would have to purposely try to sidestep it when you come across it, right? Okay, so mind you, I wasn't even in the New Testament. I was sitting there working, listening to Exodus in my ear and everything, and all of a sudden he said, on the Sabbath, he said, ain't nobody working, nobody. He said, not your son, not your sons, not your daughters, of course not your sons, not your daughters, not your men servants, your women servants or employees, anybody that work for you, not your cattle, donkeys, ass, all that. He labeled everything. Anybody, he said, not the sojourners, the strangers who are among you. As a matter of fact, the whole city, the whole land is to rest. He said, as a matter of fact, you are not to go out of your place. Some versions say you are not to leave your home on that day, right? Boom. So when it got to that part, I immediately, the scripture came to me that I had often read so much in the New Testament, where it's talking about remember they were talking to JC, and they said they was talking about the ox who had fell into the hole on the Sabbath day, right? And well, they were asking the question, but he used that example, right? He said, so how many of you who, and listen to this, when I had to go look it, I had to Google it real quick so I can find it. You'll find it in Matthew and you will find it in Luke. And in Matthew it says, who of you who has an ox who falls into the hole on the Sabbath day would not go in to get it? Now Luke says, if you have a son or an ox, or another version say if you have an ass or an ox. I'm like, when did they start putting son in here? Because as long as I didn't read it, when I was reading it all the time, the New Testament, when did I say, see, they shenaniganizing stuff, and they adding stuff in here and changing stuff. It could have been there. Maybe I just was reading one version, but anyway, Luke said, if your son or your ox falls into a hole on the Sabbath, right? So I said all that to say, when I thought about it, it was like, here's one of those things when you're really familiar with the Torah and what Yahuwah said, it's like, stop. I'm like, first and foremost, why is any of y'all out the house? Because then y'all say nobody's to leave their home, and we know that the Sabbath day is coming up. Didn't he tell us to prepare the day before on the Sabbath? So why is your ox out roaming the street? You should have tied him up. Thank you, Leisha. Why they even out? Why is your son out the house? Then y'all say for us not. See, I tell you, I like what this one gentleman said. He said the New Testament should be renamed the New Test to see if you've been paying attention to what Yahuwah said in the Old Testament. Boy, I tell you, I immediately called my mama. I was hollering, laughing. I was like, see, there goes some of those things, like if you don't pay attention to, you completely gloss over it. And it's another one in there about the Passover and everything. They said, oh, it was the first day of unleavened bread. It was like the first day of unleavened bread, and they was preparing the Passover lamb. I was like, first and foremost, Passover comes before the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So if they were in Feast of Unleavened Bread, they should have already been prepared that Passover lamb and have eaten it by twilight. And so I'm just like, see, those are the things that pop out at me, and you can tell, okay, something ain't right, so I wanted to share that with y'all because I was super hype about that, because I mind my own business work and just listen to the scripture. And when I heard that the scripture from the New Testament, you was showing me, this is some of the leaven. Pay attention. People, they can't see it. When you're not familiar with Torah or with Yahuwah's instructions, you cannot see. It's almost impossible for you to see. You don't even know you have no point of reference. If you constantly listen to that, the Old Testament is done away with. Stay from over there. No, the instruction for your life is back there. You need to read that. You need to be familiar with it. So, like I said, there's a lot of shenanigans going on in the New Testament. A lot of people, they'll fight to the death. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, okay, all right, go on, all right. But that's sort of that. I wanted to share that with y'all. So that's one of those things. It proves that when you're familiar with the instructions from Yah, you won't get caught up in small little traps that are set for you and that'll get you off. And it's little by little, a little leaven leavens the whole lump. First of all, none of y'all should have been out the house. I said, and if that ox got out, either you didn't tie him up good enough on the 6th day before the Sabbath came in, or you just left him out there, or he was a wild bull or whatever, and he got away. And if he got away on the Sabbath, well, may y'all protect you while you out there on the Sabbath. I'll come looking for you after the Sabbath is over. Maybe somebody else will catch you. But even if somebody else catches a livestock, somebody's livestock that doesn't belong to them, Yahuwah even has instructions for that on somebody who finds somebody livestock wandering that doesn't belong to them. Like, everything is there. Like, it just blew me away. So I just wanted to share it with y'all. Okay, y'all. So today, let's get into today's reading. I'm gonna start running my mouth. I could talk all day about those little things. But today it is Wednesday, May the 13th, 2020, day 145, and we are in the book of 4th Ezra. We're reading 4, 5, and 6 today, y'all. This 4, 5, and 6 is really good. I was up reading this. Let me tell y'all something. Last night, I was waking up every hour on the hour. And when I say since 2 a.m., when I say I was waking up every hour on the hour, I was waking up every hour on the hour all last night. I was having all kinds of dreams. I don't remember half of them. But, I'm like... And I kept looking at it. I'm like, why do I keep waking up every hour? I mean, I slept peacefully. I'm not, tired or anything, but it was just weird. Okay, y'all. So, 4th Ezra, 4, 5, and 6. And this gets pretty good. Pretty good. All right. All right. 4th Ezra, chapter 4. Oh, real quick. Remember... Tomorrow, according to how Yahuwah calculates time, Trina, tomorrow is the Sabbath. Every new moon that we have, we realize as we've been calculating it, we realize if we're looking at the Gregorian calendar, the regular calendar that we use, it would seem like the Sabbaths rotate. Remember, I talked about this last year and I changed it, but then I got a lot of kickback, and then I was like, oh, Father, I want to make sure I'm doing this right, so I'm gonna just move this back until I know for sure. Now, over this next year that has passed, I'm like, I am certain that I was right. The Sabbaths, the count, it's not a continuous count for the Sabbath day. The 7-day Sabbath count starts with every new moon, because everything is perfect. There has to be a way for us to catch back up, to correct ourselves every single month. If we get off on a count or whatever day it is, or finding the feast days, the Sabbath count starts over with every new moon. And what happens, you'll find out it's the new moon. Then the first day count begins the next day. Day 1, 2, 3, and you'll realize the 7th day after the new moon falls on the same day. So if the new moon fell on Thursday, next week the 7th day will fall on Thursday, and Thursday until the next new moon. Like this new moon, it fell on a Thursday, so that's why the Sabbaths are on a Thursday. But the next new moon is actually going to fall on a Saturday. So we'll go back to the Saturdays. Well, in a couple weeks. Was it in the next new moon? It's in about 2 weeks. But it's going to fall on a Saturday. So then the Sabbath day count starts over, and you will see that the Sabbath is every Saturday for that month until the next new moon. Then after that, it actually falls on Sunday, and that's how it changes like that. So I've decided when I learn something new, when I'm sure of it, I'm adjusting as soon as I can, because I don't want to be out of line knowing that I know something. I just can't bring myself to continue doing something that I found out the truth to, that I knew I was doing wrong. A lot of people may not agree, but I've been looking at this for a couple of years and like, Father, I'm almost certain. I was like, and if I'm off, I'm sure you would have shown me, like, Pam, wait a minute, go check into this, just as he's always been faithful to. So I'm almost certain of this. Okay, so that's why, Trina, when you saw me Saturday, because I think you may have been asleep or working or something, whatever, and you missed that video, or I said it towards the end of the video, whatever, I don't know. But anyway, I was looking for the video, and I didn't remember which one that I explained it in detail in, so hopefully you got it right there. All right, y'all, let me go ahead and read. 4th Ezra, chapter 4. And the angel that was sent unto me, whose name, remember, this is Ezra who's talking. And the angel that was sent unto me, whose name was Uriel, gave me an answer and said, your heart has gone too far in this world, and thank you to comprehend the way of El Elyon. Then said I, yea, my Lord. And he answered me and said, I am sent to show you 3 ways, and to set forth 3 similitudes before you, whereof if you can declare me one, I will show you also the way that you desire to see. So he asked him a question, So he said, I was reading this, and he was asking him questions, and I was in a couple other books, and it's like sometimes when the angels talk to him, maybe they may not, but I'm just like, man, the questions that we ask, is like, we're children when we ask them, like, because we really don't know, and it seems to me the angels look at us like, you really don't know that? So, okay, listen. And he answered me and said, I am sent to show you 3 ways, and to set forth 3 similitudes before you, whereof if you can declare me one, I will show you also the way that you desire to see, and I shall show you from whence the wicked heart comes. Tiffany said, I need y'all to pray with me that y'all will make a way for me to honor the Sabbath and pay my bills. We're in agreement with you, Tiffany. Y'all's always faithful. He's always faithful. Whereof, if you can declare me one, I will show you also the way that you desire to see, and I shall show you from whence the wicked heart comes. And I said, tell on, my Lord. Then said he unto me, go your way, weigh me the weight of the fire, or measure me the blast of the wind, or call me again the day that is past. Then answered I and said, what man is able to do that you should ask such things of me? And he said unto me, if I should ask you how great dwellings are in the midst of the sea, or how many springs are in the beginning of the deep, or how many springs are above the expanse, or which are the outgoings of paradise, perchance you would say unto me, I never went down into the deep, or as yet into Sheol, neither did I ever climb up into heaven. Nevertheless, now I have asked you but only of the fire and the wind, and of the day wherethrough you have passed, and of these things from which you cannot be separated, and yet you can give me no answer of them. And he said, moreover, unto me, your own things as such are grown up with you. Can you not know? How should your vessel then be able to comprehend the way of El Elyon, and the world being now outwardly corrupted, to understand the corruption that is evident in my sight? Then said I unto him, it were better that we were not at all, than that we should live still in wickedness, and to suffer, and not to know whereof. And he answered me and said, I went into a forest, into a plain, and the trees took counsel and said, come, let us go and make war against the sea, that it may depart away before us, and that we may make us more wood. You too, Trina, we're in agreement with you too. I know, see, with us being in the land of our captivity, sometimes keeping to some of Yahuwah's laws, statutes, and commands, it's kind of hard, But Yah is faithful. He'll show his favor. The floods of the sea also in like manner took counsel and said, Come, let us go up and subdue the woods of the plain, that there also we may make us another country. The thought of the wood was in vain, for the fire came and consumed it. The thought of the floods of the sea came likewise to naught, and the sand stood up and stopped them. If you were judged now between these two, who would you begin to justify, or whom would you condemn? I answered and said, Truly, it is a foolish thought that they both have devised, for the ground is given unto the wood, and the sea also has his place to bear his floods. Then answered he me and said, You have given a right judgment, but why judge you not yourself also? For like as the ground is given unto the wood, and the sea to his floods, even so that dwell upon the earth may understand nothing but that which is upon the earth, and he that dwells above the heavens may only understand the things that are above the height of the heavens. Then answered I and said, I beseech you, O Yahuwah, let me have understanding. For it was not my mind to be curious of the high things, but of such as pass by us daily, namely, whereof Israel is given up as a reproach to the heathen, and for what cause the people whom you have loved is given over unto wicked nations, and why the Torah of our forefathers is brought to naught, and written covenants come to no effect, and we pass away out of the world as grasshoppers, and our life is astonishment and fear, and we are not worthy to obtain mercy. What will he do unto his name whereby we are called? Of these things have I asked. Then answered he me and said, The more you search, the more you shall marvel. For the world hastens fast to pass away, and cannot comprehend the things that are promised to the righteous in time to come. For this world is full of unrighteousness and infirmities. But as concerning the things whereof you ask me, I will tell you. For the evil is sown, but the destruction thereof is not yet come. If therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down, and if the place where the evil is sown pass not away, then cannot it come that is sown with good. For the grain of evil seed has been sown in the heart of Adam from the beginning, and how much wickedness has it brought up unto this time? And how much shall it bring forth unto the time of the threshing come? Ponder now by yourself how great fruit of wickedness is the grain of evil seed has brought forth. And when the ears shall be cut down, which are without number, how great a floor shall they fill? Then I answered and said, How and when shall these things come to pass? Wherefore are our years few and evil? And he answered me, saying, Do not you hasten above El Elyon, for your haste is in vain to be above him, for you have much exceeded. Did not the souls also of the righteous ask question of these things in their chambers, saying, How long shall I hope on this fashion? When comes the fruit of the floor of our reward? And unto these things Uriel the archangel gave them answer, and said, Even when the number of seas is filled in you, for he has weighed the world in the balance. By measure he has measured the times, and by number he has numbered the times, and he does not move nor stir them until the said measure be fulfilled. Then answered I and said, O Yahuwah Adonai, we are all full of sin. For our sakes perchance it is that the floors of the righteous are not filled, because of the sins of them that dwell upon the earth. So he answered me and said, Go your way to a woman with child, and ask of her, when she has fulfilled her 9 months, if her womb may keep the birth any longer within her. Then said I, No, Adonai, that she cannot. And he said unto me, In Sheol the chambers of souls are like a womb of a woman. For like as a woman that travails makes haste to escape the necessity of travail, even so do these places hasten to deliver those things that are committed unto them. From the beginning, look, what you desire to see, it shall be shown you. Then answered I and said, If I have found favor in your sight, and if it be possible, and if I be meet therefore, show me then whether there be more to come than is past, or more past than is come. What is past I know, but what is for to come I know not. And he said unto me, Stand up on the right side, and I shall expound a similitude unto you. So I stood and saw, and behold, a hot burning oven passed before me. And it happened that when the flame was gone by, I looked, and behold, the smoke remained still. After this there passed by before me a watery cloud, and sent down much rain with a storm. And when the stormy rain was past, the drops remained still. Then said he unto me, Consider with yourself, as the rain is more than the drops, and as the fire is greater than the smoke, but the drops and the smoke remain behind, so the quantity which is past did more exceed. Then I prayed and said, May I live, do you think, until that time? Or what shall happen in those days? He answered me and said, As for the tokens whereof you ask me, I may tell you of them in part. But as touching your life, I am not sent to show you, for I do not know. So he was pretty much saying, what's going to happen in your life, I cannot tell you that. But I can tell you everything else. You can ask me another question, but I can't tell you. A lot of us would like to know what's going to happen. I don't really think that I want to know for real. Although y'all shows me some things ahead of time, I don't think that I would want to know the full length of everything. Just let it happen as you see so fit. And whatever you want to show me ahead of time, what most of the time is warning to let me know you might not want to do that because this. Okay, now adjust my ways. All right. 4th Ezra chapter 5. Nevertheless, as coming the tokens, behold, the days shall come that they which dwell upon the earth shall be taken in great number. Now here's something that you need to remember. In the New Testament, there is a scripture, and I believe it's in Matthew chapter 24, the tribulation chapter. Remember the portion where it says, there shall be a woman grinding at the mill. There should be 2 women grinding at the mill, one taken and one left. 2 women or 2 men shall be sleeping in their beds. One shall be taken, one shall be left. 2 walking up the hill, one shall be taken, one shall be left. For some reason, that whole portion right there is explained as from what I've understand, from what I've heard, that portion right there, the rapture, they explain about the rapture, one of them is taken. No. Taken in scripture means you got dead. You died. D-E-A-D. Dead. So when it says you were taken, that means you died. And the one that's left is more blessed than the one that's taken. So you might, and let me tell you, them Left Behind movies have done a disservice unto y'all's people. Those that are left behind are more blessed than those that be taken. That's what the scriptures say. Remember, the righteous inherit the earth. The wicked are rooted out of it. Yahuwah has said it all the way through. Okay, just remember that. Okay. I'll start at verse 1 again. Chapter 5 of 4th Ezra. Nevertheless, as coming the tokens, behold, the days shall come that they which dwell upon the earth shall be taken in a great number, and the way of truth shall be hidden, and the land shall be barren of belief. But iniquity shall be increased above that which you now see, or that which you have heard long ago. And the land that you see now to have root shall you see wasted suddenly. But if El Elyon grant you to live, you shall see after the 3rd shofar that the sun shall suddenly shine again in the night, and the moon thrice in the day. And what we hear that, we also read about that in Joel. We sure do. And blood shall drop out of the wood, and the stone shall give his voice, and the people shall be troubled. Even he shall rule whom they look not for that dwell upon the earth, and the fowl shall take their flight away together. And the Sodom Sea, it says Sedomish, but it's the Sodom Sea shall cast out fish and make a noise in the night, which many have not known, but they shall all hear the voice thereof. I'm on verse 8, Leisha. 4th Ezra, chapter 5, verse 8. There shall be a confusion also in many places, and the fire shall be oft sent out again, and the wild beasts shall change their places, and menstruous women shall bring forth monsters, and salt waters. Now, think about this. We hear monsters. You think it's talking about women who are giving birth to babies. That just sound horrible. But babies who have deformities. Okay, I'll leave it like that. And salt water shall be found in the sweet, and all friends shall destroy one another. Then shall wit hide itself, and understanding withdraw itself in a secret chamber, and shall be sought of many, yet not be found. Then shall unrighteousness and incontinency shall be multiplied upon the earth. And I also think the women, it's definitely birth defect, and it falls in line of birth defects, but I think it's also going to have a lot to do with radiation poisoning, and affecting the mother's bodies and the seed that's in her belly while it's developing, and henceforth you're going to bring forth a monster. That just sounds horrible to refer to children. Okay, let me finish reading. One land, let me go back up. Let me go back up to 7, y'all. And the Sodom sea shall cast out fish and make a noise in the night, which many have not known, but they shall all hear the voice thereof. There shall be a confusion in many places, and the fire shall be often sent out again, and the wild beasts shall change their places, and the menstruous women bring forth monsters. And salt waters shall be found in the sweet, and all the friends shall destroy one another. Then wit shall hide itself, and understanding withdraw itself into his secret chamber, and shall be sought of many, and yet not be found. Then shall unrighteousness and incontinency be multiplied upon the earth. One land also shall ask another and say, Is righteousness that makes a man righteous gone through you? And it shall say, No. At that time shall men hope, but not obtain. They shall labor, but their ways shall not prosper. To show you such tokens, I have leave. And if you will pray again and weep as now, and fast even days, you shall hear yet greater things. Then I awoke, and an extreme fearfulness went through all my body, and my mind was troubled, so that it fainted. So the angel that was come to talk with me held me, comforted me, and set me up upon my feet. We know this same thing happened with Daniel. Great fear came upon him from what the angel had showed him in a vision, and he had to, son of man, get up, stand up. And in the second night it came to pass that Shealtiel, the captain of the people, came unto me, saying, Where have you been, and why is your countenance so heavy? Know you not that Israel is committed unto you in the land of their captivity? Up then, and eat bread, and forsake us not, for the shepherd that leaves his flock in the hand. Up and eat bread, and forsake us not, as the shepherd that leaves his flock in the hands of cruel wolves. Then said I unto him, Go your way from me, and come not nigh me. And he heard what I said, and went from me. So from the time he had woken up, the captain of his army and of his people had came to him and was like, Man, where you been? We out here. Don't leave us by ourselves. He said, Look, brother, not today, okay? Just go away, all right? Go away right now. And so I fasted 7 days, mourning and weeping, like as Uriel the angel commanded me. And after 7 days, so it was that the thoughts of my heart were very grievous unto me again, and my soul recovered the Ruach Binah, which is the spirit of understanding. And I began to talk with El Elyon again, and said, O Yahuwah Adonai, of every word of the earth, and of all the trees thereof, you have chosen one only vine. And of all lands of the whole world you have chosen one pit, and of all the flowers thereof one lily. And of all the depths of the sea you have filled one river. And of all the built cities you have hallowed one Zion. And of all the built cities you have hallowed Zion unto yourself. And of all the fowls that are created you have named one dove. And of all the cattle that are made you have provided one sheep. And among all the multitudes of people you have gotten one people. And unto this people whom you have loved you gave one Torah that is approved of all. And now, O Yahuwah, why have you given this one people over unto many? He said, you didn't chose us out of all the people of the earth, and he compared it to all the different things. Like you chose one, the city of Zion, you chose to put your name on, and your people. And why have you given us up? So that's pretty much what he's saying. And now, verse 28, and now, O Yahuwah, why have you given this one people over unto many, and upon the one root have you prepared others, and why have you scattered your one and only people among many? And they which did gainsay your promises and believe not your covenants have trodden them down. If you did so much hate your people, yet should you punish them with your own hands. Now, when I had spoken these words, the angel that came to me in the night afore was sent unto me. And he said unto me, Hear me, and I will instruct you. Hearken to the thing that I say, and I shall tell you more. And I said, Speak on, my Adonai. Then said he unto me, You are sore troubled in mind for Israel's sake. Love you that people better than he that made them? And I said, No, Adonai, but of a very grief have I spoken, for my mind pains me every hour, while I labor to comprehend the way of El Elyon, and to seek out part of his judgment. And he said unto me, You cannot. And I said, Wherefore, Adonai? Whereunto was I born then? Or why was not my mother's womb then my grave? Then we hear Job say that too. Like they have questions like, how can you let this go on? And the angels pretty much saying to all of them, and y'all speaking through the angels to them and said, you are not comprehending the purpose of this all. So he's going on and trying to explain it to them and in steps in a way that you can comprehend the overall plan. But sometimes we, in our own human understanding, unless Yahuwah decides to open our understanding, we cannot seem to comprehend it, and we have more questions and more questions like a child. But why? But why? But why? Why? And it's so. Listen, verse 35. And he said unto me, You cannot. And I said, Wherefore, Adonai? Whereunto was I born then? Or why was my mother's womb then? Why was not then my mother's womb then my grave, that I might not have seen the travail of Jacob and the weariness and toil of the stock of Israel? And he said unto me, Number the things that are not yet come. Gather me together the dross that are scattered abroad. Make me the floors green again that are withered. Open me the places that are closed, and bring me forth the winds that in them are shut up. Show me the image of a voice, and then I will declare to you the things that you labor to know. And I said, O Yahuwah Adonai, you may know these things, but he that has not his dwelling with... What? Hold on, let me read that again. Verse 38. And I said, O Yahuwah Adonai, who may know these things? Oh, okay, I get it. I'm going to read it again, y'all. I was messing myself up reading. I was reading too fast. And I said, O Yahuwah Adonai, who may know these things, but he that has not his dwelling with men? Pretty much saying, only you know these things. Why are you even asking me these questions? I don't know, only you know. And you don't dwell among us. As for me, I am unwise. How may I then speak of these things whereof you ask me? Then he said unto me, Like as you can do none of these things that I have spoken of, even so can you not find out my judgment, or in the end the love that I have promised unto my people. And I said, Behold, O Yahuwah, yet you are nigh unto them that be reserved to the end. And what shall they do that have been before me, or we that be now, or they that shall come after us? And he said unto me, I will liken my judgment unto a ring. Like as there is no slackness of the last, even so there is no swiftness of the first. So I answered and said, Could you not make those that have been made and be now and not... I'm sorry, I'm reading too fast. So I answered and said, Could you not make those that have been made and be now and that are for to come at once, that you might show your judgment sooner? Okay. It is a love story, Tiffany. Okay, so what he gonna get into it. Let me not jump ahead. Okay. So I answered and said, Could you not make those that have been made and be now and that are not for to come at once, that you might show your judgment the sooner? Then answered he me and said, The creature may not haste above the maker, neither may the world hold them at once that shall be created therein. And I said, As you have said unto your servant, that you, which give life to all, have given life at once to the creature that you have created, and the creature bore it, even so it might now also bear them that be present at once. So he pretty much saying, why couldn't you just did all this at one time? Everybody could have been born at the same time. We can eradicate sin at one time, and then we can just go on, live, and be happy. And he said, listen, He gonna get into it, and he gonna start explaining. He said, "Listen, wait, is it here? Yep, we're coming up on it." He's gonna explain to them why he doesn't do it that way. Just like a woman, although a woman can bear multiple children, she can't bear the entire world at one time. It has to be done in stages. And that's what he's trying to get him to see. And that's a lot. Oh my gosh, y'all. If this stuff had been left here, we would understand so much. And we wouldn't, I ain't going to say we still wouldn't have a lot of questions, but we would actually begin to look at nature and how who created things in the process of life, and how in the process of time things come to it. Oh, Tiffany, I love the way you said that. This is a love story. It is. It's a love story, and he's doing it in a way. Think about your children. Like, as your children grow, you deal with them on the level that they are. You don't give them more than what, like, think about carrying groceries in a house. I mean, something simple as that. Like, you understand the strength that they have at that age, so you know how much weight that they can carry. And you give, although we got a bunch of groceries, I ain't gonna be like, you better come over here and get some more of these bags. You better grab these cases of water, get some of these jugs of milk, these juices. No, baby, I'm gonna give you the bag of bread. That's what I give Bella. I give her the bag of bread. If she want to try and lift that tub of ice cream because she want the ice cream, give me the ice. And she gonna doing like this, So he's explaining. He said, listen, it has to be done in a process. And he said, I care about everyone, so no one is hurt. So it has to be done. It's a delicate process, and we can see the process in everything. It blows me away. Okay, let me get back to reading, y'all. Okay. I get super excited. Okay. Let me see. Let me go out 43. So I answered and said, could you not make those that have been made and be now, and that are for to come at once, that you might show your judgment the sooner? Then answered he me and said, the creature may not haste above the maker, neither may the world hold them at once that shall be created therein. And I said, as you have said unto your servant, that you, which give life to all, have given life at once to the creature that you have created, and the creature bore it. Even so, it might be now also, even so it might now also bear them that now be present at once. And he said unto me, ask the womb of a woman, and say unto her, if you bring forth children, why do you not, if you bring forth children, why do you it not together, but one after another? Pray her therefore to bring forth 10 children at once. And I said, she cannot, but she must do it by distance of time. Then said he unto me, even so have I given the womb of the earth to those that be sown in it in their times. God, y'all, let me read that again. This is so good. Then said he unto me, even so have I given the womb of the earth to those that be sown in it in their times. For like as a young child may not bring forth the things that belong to the aged, even so have I disposed the world which I have created. And I asked and said, seeing you have now given me the way, I will proceed to speak before you for our mother, of whom you have told me that she is young, draws now unto age. He answered me and said, ask a woman that bears children, and she shall tell you. Tiffany, I know, girl, I know. Listen. He answered me and said, ask a woman that bears children, and she shall tell you. Say unto her, wherefore are unto they whom you have now brought forth like those that were before, but of less stature? Pretty much what he just said, because I've read this in a couple different versions. He said, ask a woman who has given birth to children in her youth, how they differ from the one she gives birth to when she's older. So think about a woman that I can attest to this. I was 18 years old when I had my first child, right? Think about it, not that any of my children are weaker, but you give birth to stronger children when you are younger. When you get older, your body tends to, I'm not going to say put off an inferior product, but you can tell the strength of your first children that you give birth to in your younger age. They're stronger. Think about Elijah. Elijah, during 6 feet. How tall is he? He tall, and they're big and they're strong. He said, women who give birth in the strength of their life, birth forth or give birth to children who are stronger and they're rigorous. It's just okay. I'm gonna finish reading, y'all. Y'all get what I'm saying. 52, 6'4". He's 6'4". Thank you, Leisha. He's 6'4". Say unto her, wherefore are they unto they whom you have now brought forth like those that were before, but less of stature? And she shall answer you, they that be born in the strength of youth are of one fashion, and they that are born in the time of age, when the womb fails, are otherwise. Consider therefore also how that ye are of less stature than those that were before you. And so are they that come after you less than thee, as the creatures which now begin to be old, and have passed over the strength of youth. Then said I, Adonai, I beseech you, if I have found favor in your sight, show your servant by whom you visit your creature. Also, not only that, but if we look through history, we'll find out, and I like how my uncle said, he said, we almost kind of like pygmies compared to the, think about the earth as being a womb, and as the time progressed, people who were born before us, think about it, because they were stronger than us. They were taller than us. Think about it, because they were the ones, they were like working out in the fields more than what we are. And think about us now. Not that we're not strong, but y'all get what I'm saying. If you look at the earth and over the centuries, and all the people who were born, they were stronger. They were bigger. I mean, like the strength of body wise. This proves that, and you can also see it in women that have children. I try to get what I'm saying, but if you look at it, I've looked at some of that stuff, but it's true. If you look at it, some people are still strong now. They lifting weights or whatever, but back in the day, they weren't like lifting weights. They were strengthened. They were strong just through the process of life and just living life. They didn't have all the conveniences that we have now to do stuff for us, which let me tell you something about conveniences. I made a post. Conveniences, they are beautiful. They are great. They save time. But conveniences also weaken us. We got machines, granted, we can pump out more, we can get more done, but it makes us as a people stronger, and we forget how to do things because we bought a machine or we've trained something to do the job that we should be doing. Thus, the machine becomes stronger. The computer becomes stronger. We're not now exercising this computer brain that Yah has given us, that the computer was modeled after. A lot of us don't even use 2% of our brain's capacity and how Yahuwah created it. Like, seriously, there are ways to get this thing working. But if we always have these conveniences, just think about with cell phones, saving people's numbers in electronic phone books. Back in the day, I could rattle off everybody's number because I remembered it because I dialed it so much. Now, I can't even remember my mama's phone number. Like, out of all people number, you don't remember your mom because it's in my phone. So why? You see what I'm saying? Conveniences, they weaken us, but they can be, they're awesome. If you use them for their strengths, they're great. And I would say use them in emergencies, but we've just made conveniences a way of life, which weakens us as a people. And it takes our strength away if we let it. All right, y'all, last chapter for today. Ezra chapter 6. And he said unto me, in the beginning, when the earth was made, before the borders of the world stood, or ever the winds blew, before it thundered and lightened, or ever, or ever the foundations of paradise were laid, before the fair flowers were seen, or ever the movable powers were established, before the innumerable multitude of angels were gathered together, or ever the heights of the air were lifted up, before the measures of the expanse were named, or ever the chimneys in Zion were high, or ere the present years were sought out, and or ever the inventions of them that now sin were turned, before they were sealed that have gathered belief for a treasure. Then did I consider these things, and they all were made through me alone. and through none other. By me also they shall be ended, and by none other. Here's another thing. Yahuwah said, and it was only me in the beginning. He said, I am Echad. I am one God. There was nobody there with me in the beginning. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting of... Hold on, wait. Did I skip? I think I skipped something. I'll go back to 6. Then did I consider these things, and they all were made through me alone, and through none other. By me also they shall be ended, and by none other. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of times? Hold on, y'all. Then I answered and said, what shall be the parting asunder of times? Or when shall be the end of the first, and the beginning of it that follows? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, then Jacob and Esau were born of him. Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. So the world is not ending, y'all. We're literally changing the guard. All the wickedness when Esau has been first and Jacob has been last. Now times are shifting, and it says that Jacob is the beginning of it that follows, meaning after Esau rules. So that's what we can, if we pay attention to what's going on, we can see the shifting, the changing of stuff happening, and it's amazing. Okay, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. The hand of man is between the heel and the hand. Other question, Ezra, asked you not? I answered then and said, O Yahuwah Adonai, if I have found favor in your sight, I beseech you, show your servant the end of your tokens, whereof you showed me the part last night. So he answered and said unto me, stand up on your feet, and hear a mighty sounding voice. And it shall be as it were a great motion, but the place where you stand shall not be moved. And therefore, when it speaks, be not afraid, for the word is of the end, and the foundation of the earth is understood. And why? Because the speech of these things trembles and is moved, for it knows that the end of these things must be changed. And it happened that when I heard it, I stood up upon my feet and hearkened, and behold, there was a voice that spoke, and the sound of it was like the sound of many waters. And it said, behold, the days come that I will begin to draw nigh, and will visit them that dwell upon the earth, and I will begin to make inquisition of them, verse 19. And I will begin to make inquisition of them, what they have that... Am I reading that wrong? Hold on, y'all. I'm reading too fast. And it said, behold, the days come that I will begin to draw nigh and visit them that dwell upon the earth, and will begin to make inquisition of them, what they be that have hurt unjustly with their unrighteousness, and when the affliction of Zion shall be fulfilled, and when the world that shall begin to vanish away shall be finished, then will I show these tokens. The Sephirim shall be opened, or the books shall be opened before the expanse, and they shall see all together.
Mom!
Yes?
There's a vacuum up there.
Okay, just sit it right there. I'll put it in when we're done. And the children of a year old shall speak with their voices, and the women with child shall bring forth untimely children of 3 or 4 months old, and they shall live and be raised up. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall be suddenly found empty, and the shofar shall give a sound, which when every man hears, they shall be suddenly afraid. At that time shall friends fight against one another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein, and the springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. Whosoever remains from all these that I have told you shall escape, and shall see my salvation and the end of your world. And the men that are received shall see it, who have not tasted death from their birth. and the heart of the inhabitants shall be changed and turned into another meaning. For evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. As for belief, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome, and the truth, which has been so long without fruit, shall be declared. Oh, what a day, y'all. I'm excited about that. And when he talked with me, behold, I looked by little and little upon him before whom I stood. And these words said he unto me, I am come to show you the time of the night to come. If you will pray yet more and fast 7 days again, I shall tell you greater things by day than I have heard. For your voice is heard before El Elyon, for El has seen your righteous dealing. He has seen also your chastity, which you have had ever since your youth, and therefore has sent me to show you all these things, and to say unto you, be of good comfort, and fear not. And hasten not with the times that are past to think vain things, that you may not hasten from the latter times. And it come to pass after this, that I wept again and fasted 7 days in like manner, that I might fulfill the 3 weeks which he told me. And in the 8th night was my heart vexed within me again, and I began to speak before El Elyon. For my spirit was greatly set on fire, and my soul was in distress. And I said, O Yahuwah, you spoke from the beginning of the creation, even the first day, and said thus, let heaven and earth be made, and your word was a perfect work. And then was the spirit, and darkness and silence. And then was the spirit, and darkness and silence were on every side. The sound of man's voice was not yet formed. Then commanded you a fair light to come forth of your treasure, that your work might appear. Upon the 2nd day you made the spirit of the expanse, and commanded it to part asunder, and to make a division between the waters, that the one part might go up, and the other remain beneath. Upon the 3rd day you did command that the water should be gathered in the 7th part of the earth. 6 parts have you dried up and kept them, to the intent that of these some being planted of Elohim and tilled might serve you. For as soon as your word went forth, the work was made. For immediately there was great and innumerable fruit, and many and diverse pleasures for the taste, and flowers of unchangeable color, and odors of wonderful smell. And this was done the 3rd day. Upon the 4th day you commanded that the sun should shine, and the moon give her light, and the stars should be in order. And if you go back and check this against Genesis, it lines up with the days that's set forth in Genesis. And gave them, I'll read 45 again. Upon the 4th day you commanded that the sun should shine, and the moon give her light, and the stars should be in order, and gave them a charge to do service unto man that was to be made. Upon the 5th day you said unto the 7th part, where the waters were gathered, that it should bring forth living creatures, fowls and fish. And so it came to pass. For the dumb water and without life brought forth living things at the commandment of Elohim, that all people might praise your wondrous works. Then did you ordain 2 living creatures, the one you called Behemoth and the other Leviathan. We read about Behemoth and Leviathan also in the book of Job, right? You got one that lives on land, you got one that lives at the depths of the sea. And did separate, I read it again, verse 49. Then did you ordain 2 living creatures, the one you called Behemoth and the other Leviathan, and did separate the one from the other, for the 7th part, namely where the water was gathered together, might not hold them both. Unto Behemoth you gave 1 part, which was dried up the 3rd day, that he should dwell in the same part, wherein thou art 1,000 hills, wherein are 1,000 hills. But unto Leviathan you gave the 7th part, namely the moist, and have kept him to be devoured, of whom you will and when. Upon the 6th day you gave commandment unto the earth, that before you it should bring forth beasts, cattle, and creeping things. And after these, Adam also, whom you made Lord of all your creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom you have chosen. All this have I spoken before you, O Yahuwah, because you made the world for our sakes. As for the other nations which also come of Adam, you have said that they are nothing, but be like unto spittle, and have likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falls from a vessel. And now, O Yahuwah, behold, these heathen, which have ever been reputed as nothing, have begun to be lords over us and devour us. But we, your people, whom you have called your firstborn, your Yachid, your son, and your fervent lover, are given into their hands. See, even here, it calls us the nation of people, Yahuwah's son, his firstborn. And Yahuwah constantly said that through the Torah and all through Exodus. He said it to Pharaoh, you are hurting my firstborn son, my nation of people, Israel. Let my son go that he may worship me. But we, your people, whom you have called your firstborn, your son, and your fervent lover, are given into their hands. If the world now be made for our sakes, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? How long shall this endure? And that is our reading for today, beautiful people. I know, it's getting good, y'all. We got, what? We got 6, I think we got 6 more chapters. No, we got more than 6 chapters left. But I know it ends on a very exciting part. And you know what? We ain't gonna read it tomorrow. We ain't gonna get back to this till Friday. But you can read ahead if you like. Ezra, we stopped at 4th Ezra, the end of chapter 6. So when we come back Friday, we'll pick it back up at verse 6. 4th Ezra, the end of chapter. We read 4, 5, and 6. We'll pick it back up Friday at 4th Ezra, chapter 7. So I hope you enjoyed the reading for today. I know it was a little long, but it was so good. It was so good. So let's go ahead and do the blessing. Let me tell you something. Y'all is truly amazing. I knew this reading today was going to be pretty long, and I didn't want the baby constantly interrupting. So as I was coming down the stairs, and she was right behind me, I said, Father, please, have her go back upstairs so I can get through this reading without all the interruptions today. She came down for a second, and she said she was going back up. I'm like, all right, y'all. The blessing is found in Numbers chapter 6, which, remember, also the first 21 verses of chapter 6 is the Nazarite vow that a man or woman can take. Read that. And if you feel like you want to make a Nazarite vow for whatever time, it's completely your choice. You can set the time on or whatever, but all of that is there in Numbers chapter 6, verses 1 through 21. But he puts the blessing starting at verse 22. And Yahuwah spoke unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, On this wise you shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, Yahuwah bless us and keep us. Yahuwah make his face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us. May Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon us and give us his peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. All right, y'all. I love y'all. And I will see y'all bright and early Friday morning.